Okay, we're back with my Dizzy playthrough. My playthrough of Dizzy the Ultimate Cartoon Adventure Part 3. Now I've done the puzzle which was making me anxious, and to be honest, I don't really know if it should have been making me anxious at all, because that's an object that I needed to collect and insert into that round thing, that round-eyed or it was apparently a gleaming emerald rather than an eye, but then again, that note up there on the top left is referring to an eye, isn't it? So, I don't know really whether it should have been making me anxious or not really. But enough about this theoretical side of the discussion, because we've got work to do, haven't we? But first, there's a screen I forgot to visit, I think, and even though there's nothing on it, probably since it's so high up and whatnot, it'll add to my score, I think, so it was worthwhile doing overall. But there's also something else I need to get down here, I think. I think I left a pickaxe down here, and if I remember correctly, I think I need the pickaxe to solve a puzzle inside the underground section that was revealed by that statue that makes me a bit anxious, that one-eyed statue. Yeah, under but I can't remember precisely what's under there though, so it'll be fun to see again. And isn't this on these two anonymous screens there with the sign saying Dizzy's End and then Rip Egg Yolk? It's like Zax has set this all up in order to try and intimidate Dizzy as a last-ditch effort, isn't it? To try and stop him from saving the day and all. So this is where we use our pickaxe, presumably, to smash the rock like so, yeah. And quite this knife, yeah, dual dagger is what it is. So I remember now with this dual dagger that I need to cut through some some kind of a thin surface in order to get to another hidden place. So we'll go there. It's on the left side of the map, and you've got to love those spiders you see. Like the way they've got those cute heart-shaped faces or heads, or whatever you want to call them, haven't you? Yeah, cute indeed. And this sounds rather nice where I'm holding a dual dagger, doesn't it? Yeah. I found her in order to avoid rolling all the way into the water after taking that trampoline jump that I just did. It's best to take the jump while you're just one footstep away from the wall rather than being right next to it, because then it's possible, if you don't do that, it's possible you'll roll onto the logs that are going up there, bobbing up and down, and then roll off. One of them will fall into the water, and that would be quite tragic, wouldn't it? So I'd say you learn to adopt my techniques, which I so thoughtfully concoct so that you can avoid suffering the grisly fates that others have suffered before you. Wouldn't it be wise if you heed my words, wasn't it? Anyway, here we cut through the floor, this very thin, flimsy looking floor here with our dual dagger. I think we do anyway. Unless I'm just not standing in the right place. It's funny because I was sure that in another version you actually cut through this floor with the knife in order to get down there. Unless it's another place, another place where you use it. I don't know. I'll just look up in this area again to see if there's anywhere where I can use the dagger now. I don't suppose I drop it from here, no. Or here. No. I hope there's not some kind of error with the game or something, and this puzzle isn't working properly. Some kind of error with this copy of Dizzy the Ultimate Cartoon Adventure. Or I don't think that a person could make something like this all these years later and it be acceptable among the Dizzy community that an error like this should stay in the game. I'm sure someone would have said something about it on the forums and then it would have been edited, so yeah, let's just relax about that for now and press on. Oh, and as you can see with the bouncing bottle on the cauldron, I did that off camera since I remembered seeing other playthroughs in the past where that bottle's been bouncing on top of the cauldron for ages. I'd forgot about it in the previous parts of this, but yeah, now that I remember, well, I guess we'll have to have it like that, won't we? Yes. Oh, I can't believe I fell down there when I wasn't intending to. Don't think there's anything I left down here, is there? No. Strange how the castle being in the distance looks like it's on clouds sometimes, like a cloud city, isn't it? Yeah. More birds. Seems like the bird seed is needed once more. Looks like the bird up there's paralysed again, or at least it was. Another spider too. I remember what the insecticide's for. It's for killing spiders, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, now we can finally kill spiders. I think the vampire duck's feather goes into the potion we're concocting here with the cauldron as well, so we'll go there now. But first I think I'll try the knife in that safe door type thing. I don't think it'll open this door because from what it's saying in the writing up there, I think something else solves this puzzle. Some kind of a heart or something with how it says about a broken-hearted woman statue, yeah. But for now, we'll go and kill some spiders with the insecticide in order to make it easier getting through these screens and also to maximize my points. Gotta love the spider death animation, haven't you, where they just kind of vaporise in a puff of smoke. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything that lets you nullify the apples which constantly fall from trees, because they're another threat in this game. And it's funny because I always thought I remembered that well on the screen with the cauldron being impossible to jump on top of from ground height. So it's like that's been altered in order to make the game slightly easier in this version as well, maybe. For now though, I think I need to get a can of oil. Oh no, what I was gonna do was get that vampire duck's feather as part of the cauldron recipe, I think, yeah. Some of the trees have interesting looking designs, all twisty and turny, don't they? And with that white one that was on the screen just before, I thought it almost looked like it had a snout poking out of the bark of it. Can't collect this little plant, can you know? Because sometimes in Dizzy games, you can collect those little plants like that and there'll be things hidden behind them, but maybe this Dizzy game was made in the days before the Oliver twins started doing things like that, yeah. That's a cozy looking horse, isn't it? I also think that some of those wooden barks look like they've got faces on them a bit. Or I guess I've just got too much of an overactive imagination sometimes. Yeah, that's another ingredient. And now I'll be going for the 3-in-1 oil in order to use it for that castle mold on the far right side of the map. Can't remember where I left it. Oh, the 3-in-1 oil, I think it's down here, yeah. And I can also use the insecticide down here to get an item that's behind the spider here, since I couldn't possibly jump over it. So we'll drop the insecticide and see what this is. A miner's hard hat. I can't remember how this is used in this game, considering I can't really remember any play. Oh yeah, I'm guessing the hard hat is to be used to get rid of the apple hazards. So I think I'll do that as well in order to rack up my score even more. I mean, yeah, it'll take time and all, and I quite possibly won't finish this game in this part by doing that, but it'll still rack my score up and flesh out the playthrough even more, so yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So once I've done that, I don't think the apples will fall from the trees anymore. Thus it's nice to know what various items do in the game, so that I can rule them out, maybe, as not being puzzle-solving items. I was afraid of that would go rolling down there like that. We should wonder if there's anything that takes the stalactite, any object that takes the stalactites out of the equation in this game and stops them from killing you as well, doesn't it? Yeah, so now there's nothing really here for me to do except to get the friggin' one oil. Makes me wonder if that bump that I heard just now will come up in the video sound. After all, my laptop microphone can be quite sensitive at times these days. After all the times I painstakingly altered the settings of it in regards to its reception in the past and all, with it picking up sounds from outside the room and whatnot, yeah. Or anyway, onwards to get the 3-in-1 oil we go. I'm getting to be an expert at these hazardous places, aren't I, with how often I've traversed them. And the word traverse always reminds me of my high school days one time when I was doing some English homework, because in my latter years at high school we'd often get essays to do for English homework, and my writing skills weren't quite as formidable back then as what they are now, and although I was expanding my vocabulary slowly but surely back then, yeah, and one time in an essay regarding, I think it was Macbeth by Shakespeare, and at one point I used the word traverse to describe how the heroes or soldiers or knights or whatever who were the heroes in the story, how they travelled through a forest or something. I said they traversed a forest, and before I knew it, when I handed the piece of work in at school to my English teacher, she took it to the head of the English department, and the next thing I knew, I was being called out of the room to talk to the head of the English department, and he was asking me things like, what does the word traverse mean? And sadly, I don't think my description was all that great from what I remember saying. I said something like that it means to go around something or something, but I suppose I could have just said something like that it means to navigate an area that's possibly somewhat dangerous or treacherous, and it means to navigate a place that requires some deft navigation or travelling skills. In other words, the kind of skills and the kind of skills that the casual traveller wouldn't have, so to speak. Anyway, I'll use the 3-in-1 oil here on the moat in order to bring it down so I can get in the castle. I've got a feeling there'll be bats in here, but since my garlic is all the way on the left side of the map, I'll try going in first. Yeah, sure enough, there's bats. But there's also spiders as well, so it'll come in handy to have the pesticide as well. But unfortunately, I remember them being all the way on the left side of the map, so that's yet more time put into travelling around. even though it could have been done faster had I not been so intent on racking up my score before. And trust me, to forget about the apples falling from that tree on that screen that I was just on as well. I'm sure that when you think about it, I'm sure that I could have maybe played the Amstrad or Spectrum versions while doing this playthrough, because of all the times I've managed to traverse that cloud bridge without it falling and cost me a life. But I was scared that if I'd done it in this playthrough, I was scared that I surely would have made a mistake while doing it at least once, and then this playthrough would have been over once that cloud bridge was gone, since it never comes back. I think I'll get the clove of garlic first. To be honest, there's nothing else down here, because I can't really remember if I left anything else down here or not. I always thought those two carts down there, I've always thought they contribute nicely to the atmosphere, because when I used to see inaccessible little rooms in Dizzy games in the corners of screens and whatnot in the past, I used to always wonder if it was possible to get to them or not when I was young. Sometimes my adventurous spirit was so acute when I was young that I'd actually have dreams about Amstrad games, sometimes like Saboteur 1, and I dreamed that it would be possible to use grenades to blow up what look like doors on the walls at the end of certain floors, so that I'd be able to get beyond them and explore new areas and rooms. But in reality, those rooms and areas that I dreamed about didn't exist in the actual game itself. So yeah, quite the vivid imagination that I had back then as a youth, didn't I? Unfortunately, most of the time, my imagination only served to terrify me at times when I'd be scared in bed at night as a single-digit-year-old kid. I'll leave the garlic here since there's a spider in my path over there, and I'll take the hard helmet because of that apple that I remember on the tree that I forgot about dealing with. It's a shame though, because I was hoping I'd get the game finished in this part, because sometimes it can be quite tedious playing up to the point where I leave off when I finish these videos, because of how there's no save feature in this game, as I've told you before in part 2, yeah. Maybe in part 1 as well, I can't remember. So now we're going to get the insecticide. That bottle on the cauldron's very merrily bouncing away, isn't it? And that tree doesn't look too healthy or white and like that, yeah. And now to get our insecticide. Of course, I'd continue this part if I felt like we were getting somewhat near the end of the game, but knowing me, I'll probably start forgetting what to do at some point, and things will end up being much longer than they actually should have been overall, so I'm not really making any promises or guarantees just yet. Seeing the word remake always reminds me of the Streets of Rage remakes as well. Because for any of you who remember, the Streets of Rage games were beat-em-up classics on the Mega Drive, scrolling fighting game classics, yeah. And fortunately, lots of other people feel the same way about the greatness of them, which is why people online made various remakes of it, with lots of new stages and even new playable characters that you can choose. I'd definitely recommend any fans of the series check the Streets of Rage remakes out. In fact, online, if you type Streets of Rage remake in search engines, I'm sure you'll find it. Maybe one day I'll even play the Streets of Rage remakes in videos online. I remember what those items are for in those other rooms. Looks like I can't get to that spider. And I think I remember the heart up there being for that statue of the woman outside the castle. And you know that with me being me, I'm going to get the code for that drop of water, don't you? A broken heart. What becomes of the broken-hearted, eh? The broken-hearted open trapdoors for me. That's what they do. Can't really remember what to do down here though. It's a rather eerie looking place with all of the statues and the gravestones, isn't it? The headstones, yeah. There's some kind of a gem down there, I think. Let's see. I don't dare jump on that rock in the top right there. Oh no, a stalactite. A sharp diamond. Yeah, I think this is what we use to cut through that really thin wire mesh floor that we saw earlier on in the playthrough, which I was trying to cut through with the dagger. But I think that before we finish this part of the playthrough, I'll show you the villain who we're trying to defeat in this particular Dizzy game, so you can all be terrified and intimidated by him. He's up these stairs right here. I just need to make the jump the right way and then we'll see him. There he was, the sinister wizard's axe. course I can't stay there for long because his magic spells will very quickly kill me, like you saw just then. So, in the very little time that we have remaining, actually, I think we'll stop here and we'll use the sharp emerald, the sharp diamond on that thin piece of flooring on the left side of the map the next time. So take care everyone and try not to have too many nightmares now that you've seen the evil wizard's axe. Goodbye everyone and take care.